Like I'm on the Ron Paul side of the Federal Reserve argument and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but which is like we shouldn't have a centralized institution like almost a temple coming out and making interest rates willy nilly based on a whim, essentially. But when it was created, it was had parts of it had to do with the earthquake that happened in San Francisco, and they run out of money supply. So the ability to kind of rush money into areas where deflation has happened rapidly, I'm like, okay, I can see that potentially as a use, and then using the Fed as a clearinghouse for checks, that might be a point, but that could be outsourced too. But I can see where some of these arguments may come into place, but it's such a dangerous weapon to use that I'm like, it's better we don't have it. It's kind of like nukes or some nuclear weapons or something. It's better. It's interesting, but it's such a powerful weapon that it's probably better no one has it. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think like check clearing and all those were done through private institutions prior to the creation of a central
That's
bank
true.
in the United States. The central bank creation was really to support fiscally a lot of federal government activities and to remedy many of the problems created by state regulations of the banking industry at that time, which created a lot of the enormous problems that we had later with the Great Depression, or at least it exacerbated a lot of those
Yeah.
enormous problems. I mean, interestingly, Canada didn't have a central bank, I think, until the late 1930s, if I remember correctly. But they also didn't have all these provincial level banking regulations. So they didn't have a single banking failure in the Great
Mm.
Depression, not one. Whereas the United States, a huge percentage of banks failed because of these mishmash government regulations. So, like, the Fed was sort of a quasi answer to problems created by regulations in other areas. And of course, the biggest failure of the Fed was that it was the institution that caused the Great Depression. So when the economy was slowing down in the late 1920s, the Fed reacted. It basically did the opposite of what central bankers would do today and shrank the money supply. And as a result, that is the number one theory that economists have for why the Great Depression was so severe and so long. So we can really blame the Fed for the biggest economic catastrophe of the United States. I think they've gotten better, to be sure,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of problems. And if we want to talk about ending the Fed, it would be a huge undertaking that would
Yeah.
require unwinding the multi-trillion-dollar assets that they hold. And I
Well,
have no idea how to do that, and we'd have to talk to my colleagues.